Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss the legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedoms and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, the President and General Counsel of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country in the courtrooms of America. Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedoms.
The ACLU threatens yet another school district for holding its graduation ceremonies at a religious facility. I'm Matt Barber, Vice President of Liberty Counsel Action and Associate Dean of Liberty University School of Law. And for Matt Staver today, joining me in studio is Shawn Akers, Dean of Liberty's Helms School of Government and Policy Analyst with Liberty Counsel. Shawn, Liberty Counsel has launched its 9th annual Friend or Foe graduation prayer campaign. And none too soon, as the ACLU is busy about the business of obfuscating, confusing, and threatening school districts around the country. Yesterday we talked about a school district, Neptune High School in New Jersey, that the ACLU is threatened for holding facilities. For 70-plus years, they've held their graduation ceremonies at a Methodist facility because it can accommodate the number of people that need to attend this. There's a secular purpose there, perfectly constitutionally permissible. It's unequivocal. I mean, there's no question on that fact. Here we have in Irving, Texas, Liberty Counsel has sent another letter offering, again, pro bono legal representation to the Irving Independent School District after the ACLU of Texas sent a demand letter threatening the school with legal action if it did not change the location of its graduation ceremony from a local non-denominational church to, again, a secular building. The district currently hosts its graduation at the Potter's House. It's, a local non-denominational church, which seats several thousand people. This is where T.D. Jakes is the pastor. And this has been the practice for 7 years now. And in order to maximize the number of family and friends that each student can invite, the district's facilities would limit the number here. So there is clearly a logical, secular purpose for using this facility that happens to be a Christian facility. This is not a Christian event, but this happens to be a Christian facility. Again, the ACLU trampling on the rights of the individuals in Irving, Texas, on the trampling on the Constitution in order to try to impose their secular socialist agenda on people who are unsuspecting, unwitting, and unfortunately, all too often, uneducated. We at Liberty Counsel seek to educate those individuals.
You know, Matt, I wish we could say that the ACLU just doesn't get it, but I'm afraid that the closer to the truth is that they just don't care. I mean, we talked about Neptune High School yesterday, and now we've got a similar event here where T.D. Jakes, the pastor of the Potter's House, makes this beautiful facility available. They're not holding a church service here, Matt. They make a beautiful facility available to this school to hold its graduations. Now, this kind of shows you there is a little bit of a pathetic nature to the poor ACLU. I mean, they do revolve around this kind of strange calendar. They have graduation in springtime where they launch attacks. They have Christmas in December where they launch the attacks, and they have to pilfer around looking for somebody who may have accidentally put a copy of the Ten Commandments up during the rest of the year. But they're constantly looking for some way to attack the American people based on any semblance of their true belief in a living God. In this case, though, it's just like we dealt with Neptune High School. There's nothing religious going on here. It's just a matter of having a nice facility offered to the school so they can hold their ceremonies and have nice pictures, but that's not good enough for the ACLU. They had apparently much rather have you in an open field or a crowded gymnasium or not have graduation at all for that matter, rather than take Pastor Jakes and the Potter's House up on their offer.
Well, here's the problem, Shawn. The ACLU's tactics, though they threaten frivolous lawsuits, though they send these demand letters, they bully people, they intimidate people and school districts and officials into submission the problem here is that it works. All too often, it works because people just don't want the headache, and human nature, the tendency is to take the path of least resistance. Oftentimes, the path of least resistance is, well, hey, do we employ the pro bono services of Liberty Counsel and fight these bullies, or do we just go ahead and capitulate to their demands, move the facility somewhere else, and not have the headache to deal with? Unfortunately, in this case, the district has canceled next year's graduation ceremonies at the church after the ACLU has threatened this suit. It still plans, to their credit, to hold this year's graduation ceremony at the Potter's house. School official Lane Ladwig says that the district is not promoting religion. He's absolutely right. We have reached out again to them, offered pro bono assistance. We would encourage the school district here in Irving, Texas, not to capitulate, because the problem is that yes, it may be easier just to go ahead and try to move this thing somewhere else next year, but this emboldens the ACLU. This helps justify, in their minds certainly, what they are doing. This, when they have a victory, which is essentially what that is, even though it's a victory that is unrighteous and unconstitutional, it's still, from their perspective, a victory. And word gets out, and people see this, huge school district kowtowing. Other school districts who may have less in terms of resources, may be willing to do the same thing. I would encourage, in Liberty Counsel, we are offering our services to the school district there in Irving, Texas, to go ahead and do what is perfectly permissible and within their constitutional rights to do.
Matt, it only takes one to stir up this kind of trouble, but it only takes one to oppose it as well. The great thing about giants is that they are David makers. David in the Bible was nobody until he faced Goliath. And I've got to tell you, I wish we could invite all of these poor school districts that are dealing with this to come to Liberty University's graduation ceremony that was held just not too long ago, where we had Randall Wallace, the relative of Braveheart's William Wallace and the writer of the screenplay Braveheart, because when he sat there and he went through some of those famous words from that play, it really gives you an idea of what we can do now, because what he asked when they had all of those little Scotsmen out on that field ready to make that decision of whether they would face a great giant or whether they would walk calm, what he told them, as he wrote so eloquently, was that you'll look back at this day many years from now when you're dying in your beds and ask yourself whether you would have traded all the times from that day to this for just one chance to go back, just one chance to stand up and say that you may take my life, but you won't take my freedom. We've got the opportunity. We don't have to put our lives on the line. All you have to do is stand up and say, very much like Patrick Henry did, he stood up and said basically the same thing in different words. And we were sitting, right now, you and I are sitting only miles from Patrick Henry's childhood home. And he stood up and said, give me liberty or give me death. Yeah. We don't have to go that far.
No.
All we have to do is say, wait a minute, I've read the Constitution for myself, and hey, bully, I'm your David. Bring it on.
Yeah.
I'll call Liberty Counsel, and I'll educate myself, and I tell you what, you just go ahead and be my Goliath, and I'll be happy to be your David.
And Liberty Counsel is happy to provide the stones, which you can throw. If you go to Liberty Counsel's website, lc.org, we've published a legal memo regarding hosting public school graduations in churches or religious facilities. The legal memo states that the use of non-secular locations is permissible. We give the evidence, we give the talking points that people need in order to answer the bullying tactics of the ACLU and other secularist bullying type organizations like People for the American Way or Americans United for Separation of Church and State. Those who seek to fundamentally transform America, as President Obama famously said, to reflect their own secular socialist self-image, something that is anathema and the antithesis of what our founding fathers envisioned. Go to lc.org to get your hands on this memo, become educated. As you mentioned, the movie, Shawn, Braveheart, the ACLU seeks to trample on your freedoms and stand up against these bullies fight back. And Shawn, as you mentioned, by example, school districts like this can lead by example, and that sets the tone where other school districts can look and say, wow, they slayed the giant, the ACLU. They sent them running with their tail between their legs. If enough of these school districts stand up against the ACLU and tell them, no, go home, then we will see more and more victories and more support and free exercise of people's freedoms. Go to lc.org to learn how you can become part of the Liberty Counsel team, or give us a call at 800-671-1776.
You have been listening to Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel. Our hope is to encourage and inspire you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedoms. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email update. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.